Was Count Dooku aware of Darth Sidious' role as Chancellor of the Republic and true identity of Palpatine? Today, we will answer that question. Following the death of his former apprentice and friend, Qui-Gon Jinn, Dooku became involved with the trial of Nute Gunray for his role in the Naboo crisis, determined to learn as much as he could about the incident. It was here that Dooku was informed of a figure separate from the Sith Lord supposedly slain on Naboo by the Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi, who was said to be a mastermind of epic proportions, and that Naboo was simply a stepping stone in yet an unseen grand plan of the Sith. Following learning of this, Dooku departed the Jedi Order in search for this Sith Lord, frustrated with the Jedi's handling of the event and in general. After learning more about the Sith Lord, he was surprised to learn he carried many of the same beliefs and ultimate goals. Dooku again claimed his title of Count and waited for the Dark Lord to seek him out. Eventually he did, and the Dark Lord Sidious met face to face with the former Jedi Master Dooku. While Sidious always had his eye on eventually making the young prodigy and supposed chosen one Anakin Skywalker his apprentice, the boy was much too young to be implemented into the Dark Lord's plans effectively, and so he sought out another. It was here Sidious revealed to Dooku the extent of the corruption within the Republic, as he showed Dooku he was in fact the Sith Lord, but also the Supreme Chancellor of the Republic itself. Sidious did this in an effort to gain Dooku's total trust, revealing all to him in their secret meeting, and if Dooku had not accurately posed to Sidious he truly wished to join him, he would have never exited that room alive. Dooku was to become the face of the organization known as the Separatists, and amass an army that would force the Republic to turn to options that had not been fully explored. Sidious also ordered Dooku to construct a clone army on the planet of Kamino, that would to the Republic's knowledge be placed there as a safeguard, but secretly planted for Palpatine to amass an army at the Jedi's own doorstep. Palpatine told Dooku he would be pardoned for all the crimes after the rise of the Empire, in an effort to make peace between the sections of the Republic that would be broken off. However, this was in fact a lie, as Sidious would later order the Jedi Anakin Skywalker, later his apprentice Darth Vader, to execute both Dooku and the remaining Separatists. So the answer to the question is absolutely. The whole plan of the Sith was entrusted to Dooku once he pledged himself to the Sith and became Darth Tyrannus. This plan was in fact what kept Dooku so loyal to his master. He admired the brilliance and elegance at play, and felt privileged to be a part of the plan to bring the Empire to pass. Dooku revealed to Obi-Wan in Attack of the Clones that the rabbit hole went far deeper than the Jedi understood, and that there was really no way for them to win the war. Dooku said this because he held information of who Palpatine really was, and perhaps even more important, the true purpose of the clone army. Count Dooku was the one who set up the clone army, and even had final say as to who the clones would be based off of. Sidious had to keep his hands as clean as possible, as to not draw any suspicion, so he was, in a way, forced to trust Dooku with his plans entirely. Dooku was ultimately the one who established both armies under the command of Sidious. The entire Clone Wars was almost like a game for Palpatine. He constructed it solely as a way to rise as the Emperor. He moved all the pieces around the map, allowing the Jedi, Republic, and Separatists to believe they had control, when it had all been written for them prior. Jedi and innocents died in the end for nothing, as it was all just a tool for Palpatine, but the only way it could work is if Palpatine was able to construct this war and at the same time keep his hands seemingly off of all the pieces. Palpatine needed to trust Dooku, and he played quite possibly the most important role in all of the Clone Wars, but in the end, the galaxy will remember him as a footnote and traitor. Many of you may also be asking why Dooku did not give up Palpatine after being subdued by Anakin. To me, this was always really interesting, and I think the answer is a combination of a lot of things. For starters, before the duel began, Palpatine basically gave Dooku a huge speech, telling him it was almost all over and that he had basically done well. This actually likely shocked Dooku, as praise was such a rare thing from Sidious. When Dooku was dueling, he was overjoyed and believed this was his final hurrah of the war before the rise of the Empire. Dooku is glad, almost overjoyed to be involved in such a memorable and climactic fight. He even says he has been looking forward to it, and that he is glad Anakin has increased in power, as his final demise will be a more notable victory. Dooku's world suddenly comes crashing down after Anakin cuts his hands off, and the Sith goes from quite possibly, and sadistically, one of the happiest moments of his life to one of the darkest and most terrifying. This shock alone for me is enough to believe he would not reveal Palpatine. Dooku was also so focused on Anakin, even moments before his defeat, feeling his aggression and power, and he may have been so intent on Anakin, he hardly paid a second thought to Palpatine before it was far too late. The final suggestion might have been that despite the betrayal, he would rather see the Sith rise than the Jedi and corrupt Republic remain, and while I do think this is a possibility, the first explanation is more likely. So that is the whole answer. Yes, Dooku knew Palpatine was Darth Sidious, and that has always been my interpretation as to why in his final moments he did not out Palpatine as a Sith Lord. So tell me how you feel about this. I really like Dooku as a character, and his story is complex and tragic. He is absolutely one of the most underrated Star Wars characters. Dooku craved for so long to make a difference and leave his mark on the galaxy once he left it, but in the end he was swiftly forgotten and known as a traitor and deserter of the Jedi Order. If you have any other lore topics or questions you want answered, do not hesitate to tweet them at me at Stupendous Wave on Twitter or leave a comment and I will try my best to answer or make a full video dedicated to your topic. Thanks again for watching, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.